Molina Salazar, a dedicated waitress at Luby's restaurant in Brownsville, Texas, found herself deeply entrenched in the daily challenges of the hospitality industry. The role demanded not only the ability to manage a relentless stream of orders and the bustling atmosphere of a popular eatery, but also the emotional labor of dealing with a diverse array of customer attitudes and moods. Working tirelessly, Molina always ensured she greeted every customer with a smile, regardless of their behavior or how taxing her day had been. In an industry where respect and fair compensation can sometimes seem in short supply, waitstaff like Molina rely heavily on the generosity of patrons' tips to supplement their income. This financial uncertainty makes their roles even more demanding, yet it's met with a steadfast dedication to service excellence. Among the myriad of patrons Molina served, there was one particularly memorable individual, a stern, elderly man whose presence was defined by his lack of smiles and brusque demeanor. Despite his tough exterior, Molina served him with a consistent kindness and respect over the years, never faltering in her commitment to making his dining experience as enjoyable as possible. Molina's life was modest, and her job was more than just a means to an end. Luby's wasn't merely her workplace. It was a community and a second home where she had built lasting relationships with her coworkers and regulars. The restaurant was renowned in Brownsville for its hearty, authentic meals and welcoming atmosphere, which Molina helped to foster with her diligent and caring approach to service. Her daily interactions varied widely, from joyful to challenging, yet Molina handled them all with grace and a smile, ensuring every customer left a bit happier than when they arrived. Her dedication was a blend of genuine care for her patrons and a professional commitment to her role. The routine, however, took an unexpected turn when the elderly man suddenly ceased his visits to the restaurant. Concerned for his well-being, Molina found herself reflecting on the years she had spent attending to him. Then, out of the blue, she received a phone call that would alter her perspective forever. The elderly man had passed away. To her utter astonishment, he had left her a substantial sum of money in his will. This last act of kindness was not only a recognition of the bright, comforting presence she had been in his life, but also a significant affirmation of the impact her heartfelt service had on others. This profound gesture highlighted the often unseen influence that individuals in the service industry can have on the lives of others, serving as a poignant reminder of the human connections that lie at the heart of hospitality. Molina's story is a profound reminder of the impact of kindness and the enduring human connections that can emerge from even the most challenging interactions. As a waitress, her experience transcends mere occupational hurdles, touching the lives of her customers in deeply meaningful ways, especially during the months ahead, which promise to be particularly trying for her and her team of fellow servers. In the midst of these challenges was Walter, an 89-year-old World War II veteran who was a frequent patron at Luby's restaurant. Walter was a fixture at the diner, known for his robust appetite but also for his notoriously difficult demeanor. His visits were marked by stringent expectations and frequent outbursts that often left other staff members wary of serving him, resulting in many choosing to avoid his table, leading to many meals eaten in solitude. Despite Walter's reputation, Molina perceived something unique in him from the very first time she served him. There was an enigmatic quality about him that intrigued her, and despite his rough exterior, she felt a compelling urge to connect with him. Molina, unlike her colleagues, willingly took on the task of serving Walter with a sense of pride and commitment. She paid close attention to how he preferred his meals and always made sure they were served piping hot. Just as he insisted, her approach went beyond mere service. She engaged with Walter with genuine warmth and courtesy, always greeting him with a bright, "How are you doing today?" This consistent positivity puzzled her coworkers. Considering Walter's gruff nature, Walter's attitude seemed immutable despite Molina's efforts. Nevertheless, she continued to serve him with undiminished enthusiasm, ensuring that his food was always at his preferred temperature. Molina's unwavering dedication to her role was not just about getting the order right. It was about affirming her belief in the power of kindness and the potential for human connection, even in the least likely scenarios. Through her interactions with Walter and her approach to her work, Molina demonstrated that even in adversity, one can leave a lasting impression that transcends the ordinary, transforming daily service into an opportunity for significant human connection. Her story is a testament to the profound impact that kindness can have. Changing lives in the most unexpected ways, Molina's exceptional kindness made her stand out in the service industry, a fact that perhaps made Walter luckier than he ever realized. Walter, known for his exacting standards and particular tastes, was a notoriously difficult customer. Despite this, Molina, a veteran waitress, was always adept at catering to his specific needs with a smile. Salazar, another waitress at the restaurant, also recognized Walter's challenging nature. He often tested her patience, yet she maintained her professionalism, ensuring that her frustration never marred her composed demeanor. Whenever there were mishaps, Walter did not hesitate to voice his dissatisfaction loudly, often making other servers hesitant to approach him. It was always Molina who would step forward to smooth things over. With her extensive experience in the hospitality industry, Molina had honed the skills necessary to manage even the most demanding of guests. Over the years, she consistently served Walter with both patience and kindness, despite his sometimes abrasive behavior. For 7 years, she was his steadfast server. However, one day Walter unexpectedly did not appear for his usual visit. As days passed without any sign of him, Molina waited anxiously, his absence casting a shadow over her routine. Walter had been such a regular presence that his sudden disappearance was unsettling. Over the years, Molina had come to understand his moods and preferences intimately, making his absence all the more concerning. As the days turned into weeks with no word from Walter, a palpable emptiness hung over the restaurant. Molina's concern for his well-being grew, and she found herself pondering the reasons behind his abrupt disappearance. Her familiarity with Walter told her he was not one to simply vanish without a reason, especially since he had no family nearby to visit. Weeks later, while reading a local newspaper, Molina's worst fears were confirmed. She discovered an obituary revealing that Walter had passed away on the afternoon of July 15, 2007. Realizing that Walter, who had been a fixture in her life for 7 years, would never return, left her heart heavy with sadness. His death not only created a void in her daily routine but also affected the overall atmosphere of the restaurant. Despite her grief, Molina knew she had to continue with her life and work. Walter's passing deeply affected her, yet she also recognized the necessity to move forward, both emotionally and financially. The restaurant, though quieter without Walter's presence, continued to serve its patrons, with Molina bringing the same dedication to her role as always. Molina had resolved to persevere in her job, greeting each customer with her characteristic warm smile, despite the weight of sorrow she carried in her heart. Even as she faced these personal challenges, her commitment to her work never wavered. Day after day, Molina went about her duties at the restaurant with a level of dedication that never diminished. Even as she mourned the loss of Walter, a regular patron whose absence left a palpable void, she often caught herself looking over at the table where he used to sit, holding on to a sliver of hope that perhaps he might come back, though he never did. Despite the emotional toll, she continued to serve her customers with the same resilience and warmth that she had always shown. As months drifted by, a particularly surprising incident occurred during one of her shifts. Molina was informed that she had a visitor, a rare occurrence during her work hours. Filled with curiosity and a hint of apprehension, she went to meet the visitor, unaware that this encounter would bring a significant twist to her life. The man waiting for her was Walter's lawyer, someone she had never met before, whose arrival was about to unveil an unexpected chapter in her story. Initially, Molina felt uneasy, puzzled about why Walter's lawyer would want to meet her. Her relationship with Walter had been confined to the brief, polite interactions they shared when he dined at the restaurant. He was a reserved man, and their conversations rarely went beyond courteous exchanges about the meal she served. She had no insight into his personal life, as their interactions were always succinct and professional. The lawyer then shared astonishing news. Walter had mentioned Molina in his will. It turned out that Walter had deeply valued the kindness and attention she had consistently offered during his visits. To him, Molina's friendly demeanor and respectful service were the highlights of his dining experiences, compelling him to return to the restaurant repeatedly. Moved by her genuine care, Walter had decided to include her in his final bequests. As the lawyer elaborated, it became clear that Walter had taken notice of how Molina treated all her customers with great patience and kindness. Embodying the ethos of excellent customer service, Molina, aware of Walter's status as a veteran, had always sensed the deeper struggles he faced and had made a conscious effort to treat him with extra compassion, a gesture he greatly valued. Molina was overwhelmed as she listened to Walter's lawyer reveal that Walter had left her a significant part of his estate, including a $50,000 tip and a precious vintage car. These gifts were his way of expressing a lifetime of gratitude for the kindness Molina had shown him, marking a profound acknowledgement of the positive impact she had on his life. Walter had orchestrated a heartfelt surprise, opting to convey his gratitude not with words but through a touching posthumous gesture that would profoundly impact Molina's life. His secretive plans came to light only after his passing, leaving Molina with a legacy that would eternally intertwine their fates. Walter's decision to leave behind a generous tip and a new car for Molina revealed a previously unseen aspect of his character, providing a poignant conclusion to their simple yet deep-seated bond. Now, armed with the tip and the vehicle, Molina found herself pondering the enduring and transformative power of kindness, a force that transcends even the divide between life and death. Walter, who had so valued her presence, left her both astonished and full of questions, mainly why he had chosen to keep his feelings so private. Just a few weeks shy of Christmas, Walter's lawyer appeared at her doorstep, delivering news that felt like a festive miracle. This unexpected visit not only revived her cherished memories of Walter but also came with a startling inheritance, far exceeding anything Molina could have imagined. Additionally, the legacy included a classic, vintage 2000 Buick, which drastically altered Molina's circumstances, allowing her to afford the luxury she had always desired. Despite the overwhelming surge of emotions, Molina was enveloped by a sense of deep joy. Knowing that Walter had genuinely appreciated her companionship throughout the years, Molina had always prioritized her role as a server, and Walter's generous tip was a clear indication of her success in bringing happiness into his life. This whole experience served as a profound lesson in how acts of kindness can be incredibly fulfilling. While other staff members might have avoided Walter due to his seemingly gruff demeanor, it was Molina who stood by him. Recognizing that beneath his rough exterior lay a man longing for warmth and companionship in his later years, as he lived his final days without any family in the city, Molina became the sole confidant and source of kindness on whom Walter could rely. Despite the challenges he occasionally posed, at heart, he deeply valued her. Molina's acts of kindness extended well beyond her duties as a server. She would listen to him attentively, bring him his favorite meals, and patiently wait as he savored his food. These thoughtful actions did not go unnoticed. This narrative is a poignant reminder that while many customers may appear indifferent or demanding, the impact of genuine human connection and kindness can leave an indelible mark, influencing lives in ways one might never anticipate. It's easy to overlook that servers, who tirelessly attend to diners, are professionals dedicated to their craft, striving for excellence in a role where human errors are natural. This narrative highlights the oft-overlooked stress of working as a waitress, where patience and goodwill can sometimes result in unexpected and rewarding outcomes. Molina's experience serves as a poignant lesson. Even the most challenging customers are human beings, possibly using their difficult demeanor as a silent request for kindness or understanding. For Molina, the grouchy old customer was not just a difficult patron but another person navigating the complexities of life. By choosing to look beyond his tough exterior, she continued to serve him with unwavering diligence and care. Therefore, the next time you encounter a grumpy customer, consider responding with a gentle smile and compassion. You never know, this act of kindness might just circle back to you with a delightful surprise, much like the fortunate twist that graced Molina's day. After listening to this tale, what are your impressions? We'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Your insights are valuable to us. Now, prepare for another engaging story as we proceed to the next one. For many years, a devoted African-American waiter had consistently attended to a regular customer, a disabled deaf woman, overcoming numerous challenges that arose during their interactions. Despite these hurdles, a strong, unspoken bond had formed between them. On what turned out to be her final visit, she inadvertently left behind a set of keys along with a cryptic note, symbolically closing the chapter on their unique connection. During a particularly hectic shift at the restaurant, Ryan, the dedicated waiter, faced the brunt of Mrs. Johnson's harsh criticism, a customer known for her challenging demeanor. I can't believe your incompetence. You brought me Merlot instead of Cabernet, Mrs. Johnson berated him, her face reddening with anger. Maintaining his composure, Ryan calmly replied, I apologize, ma'am, but I am quite certain I took your order correctly. Don't lie to me, you must have misheard me. Only an idiot like you would make such a mistake, Mrs. Johnson scoffed, dripping with disdain. Ryan tried to explain, ma'am, I assure you, I wrote down Cabernet Sauvignon on the order. Perhaps there was a mix-up in the kitchen. Mrs. Johnson cut him off, her voice escalating. Do you think I'm a fool like you? That's why you're stuck in this pathetic job, because you're not capable of anything better. She slammed her hand on the table, causing the glasses to tremble. Keep the wine and keep your pathetic apology. I'm leaving, she declared, throwing some bills on the table and storming out, leaving Ryan both frustrated and humiliated. As he watched her leave, Ryan sighed, pondering why some customers felt the need to demean others. He felt so disheartened that he briefly considered retreating to the restroom to shed tears. Maybe the woman was right, maybe I am not good enough. Maybe I will never be able to find a better job, he thought to himself. However, as he lifted his gaze, he noticed a disabled woman in her early 60s wheeling herself into the restaurant. Her face was expressionless, and her eyes appeared cautious. With a renewed sense of purpose, Ryan approached her with a smile, determined not to let his recent encounter affect his service. As he neared, he greeted her warmly. Ready to take her order, the woman stared blankly back at him. Ryan, surprised but composed, tried not to let his shock show. Ma'am, how can I help you? He asked again carefully. The woman made a hand signal, and Ryan quickly realized she was likely deaf and mute. He grabbed a pen and pad, prepared to communicate and serve her with the utmost respect, reminding himself of the importance of his role and the difference he could make in his customers' lives. Laura came into the restaurant, armed with a pen and paper, and diligently wrote down what she wanted to order. When Ryan served her meal, she offered him a smile for the first time during her visit. After she had finished eating, she caught Ryan's attention as he was clearing the table and mouthed a silent "thank you." Understanding her, Ryan smiled back and scribbled on a piece of paper, "Did you enjoy the food?" She nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, the potatoes were exceptionally crispy." He replied with another note, "I hope to see you again soon." As she prepared to leave, Ryan didn't hesitate to assist her. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction and pride in his work as he carefully guided her wheelchair through the crowded restaurant to a quieter place outside, making it easier to hail a cab. When the taxi arrived, he helped Laura into the car, bidding her farewell with a hopeful heart before returning to his duties inside. Sitting in the back of the cab, Laura reflected on the kindness she had just experienced for the past 2 years. She often felt overlooked or even burdensome due to her wheelchair, with many people showing impatience or discomfort around her. Yet, here was Ryan, a complete stranger whose simple acts of kindness reignited her faith in humanity. Ryan found himself eagerly hoping for another opportunity to see Laura. Their brief interaction left a lasting impression on him. He could sense her underlying sadness despite her resilient smile. Her eyes spoke volumes about the burden she carried, and he felt a strong desire to bring some happiness into her life, though he was uncertain if their paths would cross again. To his delight, Laura returned to the restaurant the very next day, wheeling herself to her usual spot at noon. As Ryan approached, their eyes met and she greeted him with a bright, cheerful smile. This time, as he took her order, Laura surprised him by speaking clearly. She pointed to a black chip clipped to her right ear, a hearing aid she had forgotten during her previous visit. Ryan was overjoyed by this newfound ease of communication. He quickly served her the crispy potatoes she had praised the day before and then sat down to join her at her invitation. Introducing herself properly as Laura, their conversation unfolded, although Ryan had to speak closely to her right ear. It was a small challenge, but one he was more than willing to overcome to connect with her. Their exchange, filled with warmth and understanding, marked the beginning of a beautiful friendship that would enrich both their lives. During their conversations, which spanned an array of subjects from politics to personal relationships and even sports, Laura's remarks were always steeped in insight, and her anecdotes were enthrallingly engaging. While Ryan was keen to delve deeper into knowing Laura, she chose to maintain a certain level of mystery around some aspects of her personal life. As time went on, Laura became a fixture at the local restaurant, making it her routine to dine there for both lunch and dinner daily. Over the months and years, the connection between Ryan and Laura grew, blossoming into a valued and deep friendship. Ryan came to regard her almost as a family member, treasuring the wisdom she imparted and the happiness she brought into his life, a type of joy he hadn't felt in quite some time. Over the previous years, Ryan, a young man in his late 20s, had encountered a relentless array of challenges and heartaches. As the eldest of 4 siblings, he bore the weight of substantial responsibilities. His mother suffered from a severe heart condition, necessitating expensive medications that constantly strained their finances to sustain his family. Ryan committed himself to working exhaustive full-time shifts at a local restaurant, despite the physical and emotional toll. He pushed himself to his limits to ensure there was enough money to manage his mother's medical expenses and the basic necessities of life. The cost of her treatment was exorbitant, yet Ryan faced these adversities with steadfast optimism and a hopeful heart. Ryan was not only a caregiver but also a guardian to his younger siblings, who were all in high school. He was adamant that their education would not be compromised despite their financial hardships. Ryan managed to cover their tuition fees, purchase their school supplies, and ensure they had everything needed for their studies. He held a firm belief in the transformative power of education and was dedicated to providing his siblings with opportunities for a brighter future. A few years after meeting Laura, a critical incident occurred while Ryan was preoccupied in the restaurant kitchen. His phone rang with an urgent call from his sister, her voice laden with panic, informing him that their mother was critically ill. Dropping everything, Ryan rushed to withdraw every dollar from his bank account, his mind fraught with fear as he hurried to the hospital. Upon his arrival, he was confronted with the grave sight of his mother in a critical condition, barely conscious and breathing weakly. They quickly got her admitted, and as Ryan waited in the cold, sterile ambience of the emergency room, he felt his world starting to crumble around him. Shortly after, a doctor approached him with a somber demeanor, handing over a list of essential, but costly, procedures and medicines needed urgently. Ryan found himself grappling with the high cost of essential medications that his mother urgently needed. Overwhelmed by the expense, a sense of desperation washed over him. With limited alternatives at his disposal, Ryan hurriedly sought financial assistance, his hands shaking as he meticulously completed loan applications. After securing the necessary funds, he promptly addressed his mother's critical healthcare needs. The medical team managed to stabilize her condition temporarily, offering Ryan a brief respite from his worries. However, it was clear that a more definitive solution, such as surgery, was required to ensure her well-being. Despite the looming financial challenges, Ryan remained thankful that his mother had survived the immediate crisis. Several months later, Ryan encountered a new challenge at work. A new manager, Daycare, had taken charge, bringing a starkly different approach and personality that immediately conflicted with Ryan. On Daycare's first day, he gave Ryan a stern look and ominously announced that significant changes were on the horizon. Despite these varied challenges, Ryan's unwavering resilience and commitment to his family fueled his determination to forge a better future for them. He had managed to navigate life's obstacles successfully until one particularly harsh winter morning when an unsettling incident occurred. While at a restaurant, he noticed Laura, a woman who appeared to be struggling financially, dining alone. The sight of her stirred an inexplicable aversion within him, and a chill swept through him. "What on earth is this?" he muttered to himself as he approached her with visible disdain. To Ryan, Laura seemed like a destitute individual unable to manage her finances. He confrontationally asked her, "What do you think you're doing here?" In a harsh tone. Unbeknownst to him, Laura had not brought her hearing aids and could not hear his harsh words. Shivering slightly, she responded using sign language, indicating she was there simply to eat. Her humble reply was met with mocking laughter from Daycare, who sneered at her wheelchair disdainfully, treating it as if it were mere rubbish. "Get that thing out of here," he thundered loudly, demanding she leave immediately. As Laura began to will herself out, fighting back tears, Ryan witnessed the heart-wrenching scene unfold. A surge of anger built up inside him, prompting him to realize he needed to intervene and put an end to this cruel bullying. Clenching his fist, he momentarily hesitated due to fear but knew he had to act. "Increase your speed. We need to move quicker, come on," Decker commanded aggressively as he hastened toward Laura, shoving her wheelchair with unnecessary force. This act of cruelty was too much for Ryan to tolerate any longer. With a surge of courage, he bellowed, "Stop." His voice was so strained it hardly sounded like his own. He marched decisively towards them, blocking Decker's attempt to further push Laura. "There's no need for this. I can manage," Laura protested weakly, her voice choked with emotion as tears cascaded down her cheeks, each one wrenching Ryan's heart and igniting his fury. Facing Decker squarely, Ryan declared, "You have no right to treat anyone this way, especially not when you wield authority. This woman has already endured enough hardship. If you're not helping to alleviate her pain, the least you can do is not exacerbate it." Ryan's heart pounded as he spoke, but before he could continue, Decker delivered a stinging slap across his face. The shock sent a harsh pain radiating through Ryan's ear and cheek, the sting intensifying under his eyes. "Utter another word and you'll regret it," Decker threatened menacingly, his voice cold as he delivered the devastating blow. "You're fired." The words hit Ryan like a physical blow, dashing his spirits completely. Despite the dire situation, he knew pleading with Decker was futile. "Let's leave," Ryan murmured to Laura, managing a strained smile as he took over the task of pushing her wheelchair. Heading out to hail a taxi, Laura was overwhelmed with guilt for inadvertently causing Ryan's dismissal, but he reassured her, claiming he would manage somehow. Internally, Ryan felt a crushing despair. After seeing Laura safely off, he sank into the back seat of the taxi, his heart heavy with worry as he contemplated his sudden unemployment. Upon arriving home unexpectedly early, Ryan was met with the puzzled looks of his siblings, who were unprepared for his premature return. Their eyes were filled with questions, especially given their mother's ongoing health issues, but Ryan remained silent, not wanting to burden them further with his problems. Little did Ryan know, several patrons at the restaurant had witnessed Decker's harsh treatment. Outraged, they organized a petition that detailed Decker's ruthless behavior and lack of professionalism. The next morning unfolded dramatically as the restaurant owner, accompanied by police officers, arrived to handle the situation. Decker was escorted away in handcuffs, his exit bearing the mark of disgrace typically reserved for a major criminal. Later that day, in a twist of fate, Ryan received a phone call inviting him back to work. Overwhelmed with relief and gratitude for this unexpected second chance, he prepared to return, hopeful for a fresh start, eager to share a laugh or lend an ear, making everyone around you feel special and valued. "In light of the challenges you are currently facing, I felt compelled to extend a helping hand in the most impactful way I could think of. Enclosed in this package, you will find the keys to a small apartment I own nearby. It's fully paid for, so you won't have to worry about rent anymore. This should alleviate some of your financial burden and allow you to focus more on your family's needs and less on the looming threat of eviction. Additionally, I've included a file with details on a small fund I've set up for your mother's medical expenses, ensuring she receives the care she needs without further straining your finances. Please accept this gesture as a token of my appreciation for the joy you've brought into my life and the lives of others. You are more than just a friend, you are a beacon of kindness in our community. Remember, tough times are temporary, but true friendship and goodwill endure. Stay strong, and do not hesitate to reach out if you need more support. With all my best wishes, Laura." Ryan sat back, tears of relief and gratitude streaming down his face. The weight of the world seemed lifted off his shoulders. He couldn't wait to tell Laura how much her generosity meant to him and how profoundly it would change his life. The next day, with newfound hope and a lighter heart, he returned to the restaurant, eager to share the good news with Laura and continue serving the community that had brought them together. "In your exquisitely kind gesture of lending an ear and displaying infinite patience for my myriad tales, you have given me unspeakable joy. I will treasure our friendship always and cling to the hope that our paths may intertwine once more. Within this package, you will discover keys to my estate and documents officially making you the proprietor. You are welcome to take possession immediately, although this might be unexpected. Please be reassured that my legal advisors have thoroughly prepared everything. Continue to spread your warmth and kindness, my cherished friend. Ryan's hands trembled with disbelief as he perused the enclosed files, confirming his acquisition of a sprawling 9-block apartment complex situated in the city's vibrant heart. Overwhelmed with emotion, he let out a jubilant shout. After work, driven by a desire for more details, he reached out to the real estate agent mentioned in the paperwork, who agreed to meet him at a nearby cafe. At the estate, the sheer scale of the property hit Ryan as he laid eyes on it, confirming the reality as tears of happiness rolled down his cheeks. When he asked about Laura, the benevolent former owner, the agent confessed his ignorance, having only liaised with her legal representatives. This revelation left Ryan with a mix of elation and a nagging sense of mystery about the grand gesture. Why had Laura chosen him to inherit such a valuable asset? Buzzing with excitement, Ryan hurried home that evening. He gathered his family in the living room, barely managing to articulate the astounding news. "We're moving into a luxurious new apartment?" His voice wavered with emotion. The room fell silent, his family caught in a dreamlike stupor, until Ryan brandished the keys. A wave of warm embraces and joyful tears ensued, celebrating this life-changing event. The following day was filled with fervor as they approached their new residence. They were awestruck by the majestic facade of the building. Entering, they were greeted by the opulence within, lustrous floors, expansive rooms, and tasteful decor. As they began settling in, their new home resonated with laughter and the thrilling promise of a fresh start. Despite his love for their new home, Ryan's thoughts frequently returned to Laura. He longed to meet her, to express his gratitude, and to delve into the enigma of her generous act. At work, he often caught himself staring out the window or at the door, half expecting Laura to walk through, each moment stretching endlessly as he waited. As the days blended into weeks and weeks melded into months, Ryan grappled with the slowly fading glimmer of hope that he might one day reunite with Laura, the woman whose profound influence had left an indelible mark on his heart. Clutching her letter, a tear would escape his eye each time he read her heartfelt words. Each syllable a stark reminder of their painful separation, for excruciating months had elapsed, and with each passing day, Ryan's fear that he might never again see Laura intensified. However, the memories of their time spent together stayed vividly alive in his mind, replaying like a cherished movie that he could watch endlessly. During a routine shift at the restaurant he worked in, a tall, imposing man walked in and caught Ryan's attention. "What can I serve you, sir?" Ryan asked, his voice carrying a warmth that belied his internal turmoil. "I'm fine, thank you," the man responded, introducing himself as Kennedy Wilson, Laura's attorney. At the mention of Laura's name, a mix of anticipation and anxiety surged through Ryan's veins. Seating himself opposite the attorney, Ryan wasted no time inquiring about Laura. After a moment's pause, Kennedy delivered a devastating blow. Laura had passed away 4 months prior. The news hit Ryan like a thunderbolt, sending shockwaves of grief through his body. His cry of despair attracted the attention of everyone in the restaurant, a public display of sorrow that was unusual for him. Ryan trembled with the intensity of his emotions, overwhelmed by the loss of someone who had been not just a beloved friend but also a mentor and a grandmother figure in his life. Laura had been an embodiment of kindness and wisdom, and accepting her absence was a struggle for Ryan. He pulled out her letter, a cherished possession he carried everywhere, now realizing it was likely written in her final days. Her loss seemed insurmountable. Laura had been more than a friend, she was an advisor, a source of unconditional support. As Ryan began to regain some composure, Kennedy revealed yet another astonishing piece of information. Laura had named Ryan the sole heir to her substantial estate, which included multiple companies and properties valued in the millions. This revelation was another jolt for Ryan, hard to comprehend yet irrefutably documented in the papers Kennedy presented. Laura's life story was as tragic as it was inspiring. She had married a wealthy businessman at the age of 22, and by 28, she was a mother of 3, living a life brimming with joy and success. Their 13th wedding anniversary had been celebrated with immense fanfare, followed by a luxurious cruise aboard their private yacht. However, tragedy struck when Laura experienced a devastating tragedy when her jet went through severe weather, leading to a catastrophic explosion that resulted in the deaths of her husband and children. Miraculously, Laura survived the ordeal, though it left her deaf and paralyzed from the waist down, necessitating the use of a wheelchair and a specialized hearing aid for communication. Despite the immense personal losses she had endured, Laura's unyielding spirit shone through. The accident, while heartbreaking, also strengthened her determination to live a meaningful and purposeful life. As she neared her 50th birthday, managing her demanding schedule became increasingly challenging. To alleviate the pressure, Laura decided to hand over the management of her businesses to a capable team. However, as her 60th birthday approached, she grew anxious about the future of her fortune, reluctant to leave it to relatives whom she feared might not manage it responsibly. During this period of uncertainty, Laura encountered Ryan, who seemed to be the perfect solution she had been searching for. Ryan was compassionate, wise, and genuinely interested in making a positive impact in the world. Convinced of his integrity and without any hesitation, Laura appointed him as her heir, embracing his new responsibilities wholeheartedly. Ryan quickly proved his dedication to his role. With a mere signature, he assumed the life of a millionaire, a role that changed his life dramatically. With his newfound wealth, Ryan prioritized the well-being of his family, arranging for his mother to receive top-notch medical treatment overseas at a renowned hospital, and his siblings also benefited from his success. A few months later, moved by his gratitude towards Laura and his eagerness to contribute to society, Ryan initiated a philanthropic project. He founded a charity focused on empowering individuals with disabilities, naming it the Laura Foundation in honor of the woman who had so profoundly impacted his life. What are your thoughts on Laura's decision to choose Ryan as her heir? Please feel free to share your opinions in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.